Hello, algebra. We're going to take master product one step further. Of course, in the beginning of class, we'll take questions on 10-8. But I want to look at, so remember me referring to the fact that my A, B, and C are connected to the certain variable. So my A is the x squared, my B is the x term, and my C. Here's where we have to be very careful. Okay? I need to evaluate this. Where's my x squared term? It's over here. This right here is my A. So be careful in this lesson, because as you can see, things are a little bit jumbled up. But my A, B, and C are easily achievable by just looking at my pattern, but then knowing what goes with what. All right, let's do number 2. What's my A? What's my B? What's my C? Actually, we're going to do 2 in class again. We'll do number 3. Okay, 17x squared. That's my A because of the x squared. Okay, my B. Oh, look, here's my x, so it's negative 20. And my C, well, there's my constant, that's supposed to be blue, is negative 6. Okay, super important that you notice that. And then there's one other step that we're going to take in this method. We are going to look at whether or not we can divide out a number or a variable before we do our diamond and box method. So I'm first going to divide out a number if I can, and then I'm going to factor using diamond and box method. So, can I divide each one of these by a certain number? You'll notice they're in order in this one. Sure. I can divide all these by 4. Okay? I'm not going to use that box method to divide them. I'm just going to do it like this. So when I do that, what do I get? Well, this will be 1. That'll be 6. So I'm going to get x squared. Negative 24 divided by 4 is negative 6x. And 36 divided by 4 is positive 9. Okay? But I need that 4 out front. Okay? So this problem right here in blue is exactly the same as this problem right here in black. Do you believe me? Well, I hope you said yes. So, how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, I'm going to pause the video so I can move my box over a little bit. Give me a second. Okay, now that I've got that moved over, now I need to do my A times my C. Now, I'm only concerned about what's inside the parentheses. My 4 is not there. We're pretending it's not there. So what's my A times my C? Well, it's going to be 9. Okay? X squared. What's my new B? Negative 6. And so now I need to do the factors of 9 squared. Well, they would be 1 and 9, 2 doesn't work, 3 works, so 3 and 3. Okay, what do I have to add to? I have to add to negative 6. So I've got a positive here, and I have to add to negative 6. So what signs do my x values have to be? Both negative, because they're adding. So that's going to be my negative 3x and my negative 3x. Because I already know how to use master product, I can just go from there. Now, my A, I'm going to use my new A in the parentheses. So I've got x squared there, and I'm going to use my new C, which is 9. And then I'm going to plug in my minus 3x and my minus 3x. Now I have to factor. Starting up here, what do they have in common? They have an x in common. What do they have in common over here? They have an x in common there. What about here? negative 3 in common. Remember I said if this is negative, this has to be negative? So I can take out a negative 3. And what about here? Well, they have a negative 3 in common there too. Okay, so let's check to make sure I did it right. X times x gives me x squared. X times negative 3 gives me negative 3x. Negative 3 times x gives me negative 3x. And negative 3 times negative 3 gives me 9. Fantastic. So, how do I write my solution? I need to bring that 4 down into my solution. And I've got 4 times x minus 3 times x minus 3. And that's it. That's my solution. Let's try another one. Okay, can I take a number out of this? Well, I got an 18, a 3, and a 15. Well, we could divide all of them by 3, but they're not in the right order. So you have a decision to make. If you want to write them in the right order, please rewrite them. And then, let's divide everything by 3. Or, when we rewrite this part, we could rewrite them in order. Let's do that. So I've got my 3 on the outside, and then when I divide this, because that's my x squared term, that's going to go there. And my x term's here, so that'll give me my b. That's a positive 5x when I divide that by 3. And here's my c, and that's a plus 6. Okay, great. So that's how I got my x squared here and my 6 here. Because I looked at my new polynomial, which is inside the parentheses, and I know that my 3 is going to be in my answer. So when you do this, you may want to write where your answer is going to be. You may want to write that 3 down, because the most common error you're going to make here is forgetting to do that part. Okay, let's see. A times c. What number is in front of here? A 1. 1 times 6 is 6x squared. My b is 5x. It's positive and positive. So if it's positive and positive, these are going to be positive. Both positive. All right, so let's figure out what are the factors of 6. Well, we've got 1 and 6, and we've got 2 and 3. Which of those add to 5? That one's tough, because they both. Let's see. 6 minus 1 would be 5, but these have to both be positive, so it has to be this one, because you could get 5 with either one of those. And so that's why it's important to write down all of your possibilities and then figure out what you have to add to and know what these signs have to be. Remember, we're using our picture from last chapter. Okay, so I could set up the rest of my box. I've got a 2x here and a 3x here. Remember, it doesn't matter where you put those. And now I could factor out. What do these have in common going up? An x. What do these have in common going across? An x. How do I know that? Because x times x gives me x squared. Okay. Whew, a lot. X times what gives me 3x? I could do it that way. Or I could look at what do these have in common going up? Well, they both divide by 3. Positive 3. What do these have in common going out? Positive 2. Let's check our answer. X times x is x squared. We already checked that. X times 3 gives me 3x. Perfect. 2 times x gives me 2x. Perfect. 2 times 3 gives me 6. Perfect. I've got my answer. Remember, I told you to put that 3 down here for a reason. Now, write your answer with it, and that's your final factorization of this quadratic polynomial. Okay, let's see. What's happening? Where did my